You could literally watch Kristen chain smoke cigarettes for freaking hours.
Hi, you guys. I have a very small window of time today to do this video about the reunion. So I'm gonna do it nice and quick. My baby is still napping, okay? I found the only room in my house that doesn't have a humming in the background because I have all the fans and the ACs on right now because my house is hot and it's finally starting to become summer where I live. I'm so excited. I went to the beach for the first time this year yesterday and it was amazing. I had so much fun. It was so nice to feel the skin on my face. Okay, I was very happy. If you're new here, my name is Sam. I am a pop culture commentary channel, and right now we are talking a lot about Vanderpump Rules. Okay, we are doing past season recaps, which I'm currently recapping season 4. Hopefully that'll be up within the next week or two. And then I have been recapping the finale of this season, and I'm going to be recapping all of the reunion episodes because who doesn't want to recap a reunion? Okay, now listen, full disclosure. I have not, if you've been following me, I have not watched a single episode of this season of Vanderpump Rules except for the first 2 episodes. First 2 episodes I watched. After that, I could not stomach it. So I just kept the tea, kept grabbing clips off of the internet, and that was good enough for me, okay? So that's kind of where my brain is at. I am an OG Vanderpump Rules girly, okay? I am Scheana walking to Villa Blanca to Sir Brandy Glanville, that kind of OG girl, okay? So I've been around the block a time or two with this group of hooligans, okay? All right, I'm gonna be doing my makeup, possibly my hair. I'm not gonna be doing anything crazy today, not like I did last time I talked to you guys. I'm gonna kind of keep it very, very simple today because it's hot as balls and I'm not gonna be able to go outside without truly like melting off of my body. It's so funny. I think I said in the last video that I did, like, I'll totally put links down below of everything that I use, blah, 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 blah. Wrong, didn't do that. Wanna know why? Because I have such a short window of time to do literally anything in my house because my children run my life. Okay, you guys, so this episode to me was also very Floptina Aguilera, okay? It wasn't giving me a lot. It mostly just pissed me off even more. It made me not be on Lala's side even more. And I went online to kind of look at like kind of to get a temperature of where everybody's at and like what people's thoughts are about that episode. Like the normal Bravo pages that basically are always talking about Bravo stuff. And I think we've all basically agreed that this season is extremely frustrating to watch. The reunion was extremely frustrating to watch. Lala is extremely frustrating to watch. And I saw somebody say, I wish I could remember and had a screenshot for it. I don't. But one of the Bravo Instagram accounts that I follow, and she was saying basically like Lala lives in this world where if it wasn't on camera, it didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. It never happened. If we did not shoot it for the show, it didn't happen. And the reason why she thinks this is because of what happened with the whole her and Ariana kind of going back and forth a little bit and being like, oh, well, you didn't defend me when Charlie was talking shit about me at your house. You just sat there and giggled. And she was like, actually, I did. I talked to you about it. And it was like, oh, well, that didn't air. And she's like, okay, that doesn't matter that it didn't air. I still did it. I still talked to you. And the crazy part is, and I say this all the time, is that these reality stars truly forget that they're on television. Like, I genuinely think they forget that there is cameras following them everywhere. Like Lala truly thinks this is her real life. She thinks that everything that's going on is like the real world. And it's just not. It's an extension of the real world, but it's not the real world that Lala actively lives in every single day. Like, the show is not her real life. It's just a minuscule version of her real life. When she said that, she was like, Ariana was like, actually, nope, I did talk to you about that. I actually did apologize to you, and we had a great conversation. And no, it didn't air, but it was taped. And cut to the producers being like, well, let's go find that footage. And sure enough, they did. And there you are, Lala again, talking to Ariana, them having an adult conversation, and Ariana being like, oh, you know what? You're right. I am so sorry. That was really dumb. Like, I should not have done that. I should have stuck up for you. And I didn't. I just sat there and I just listened. And that wasn't nice of me to do that. And I apologize for that. And Lala was like, oh, that's totally fine. The thing about Lala is, like, again, she just, I don't know what she thinks is going on. She the way that she was talking during this reunion, the things that she was saying, I was like, sweetie, stop with the producer hat that you have on. Like, it's not likable. It's not fun to watch. And you're not a producer. Like, girl, you're working too hard for this show. You're working too hard and not getting paid enough. If you're going to sit there and act like a producer, girl, ask for the paycheck. Like, don't be working this hard for only one position. Like, girl, if you want to be the CEO and the producer, go get that job and make some money off of it, because right now you're getting scammed for being a part-time producer, essentially. And she said on previous like podcasts or episodes or something where she was like, you know, this was like a couple years ago, I guess. She was like, oh yeah, you know, we don't do anything that we don't want to do. The producers don't force us. They obviously give us ideas and scenarios and things like that. But like, if we don't want to do it, we don't do it. Okay. If for whatever reason this season, everybody else can fuck around except for Ariana, who got fucked over. Please make that make sense to me. How come Ariana can't breathe, literally cannot breathe oxygen without somebody up her ass on this cast, except for Katie, and except for, honestly, James too. James hasn't really said or done anything to her or pushed her to be anybody that she's not supposed to be or whatever. But I just don't understand why Ariana cannot do anything without getting criticized by this group. Every single fucking thing that she does, they have done. But for whatever reason, when it's Ariana, doesn't make any sense. We can't do it. I don't like this. Blah, 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 fucking blah. I just don't understand it. It's just so weird. Like, and it's beyond, like, everybody's like, oh, it's jealousy. I'm like, I think it's a little beyond jealousy at this point. Like, it is beyond, like, we saw in the preview for next episode that Lala basically is like, you don't give a fuck about your job because you give a shit about ours. And it's like, no. I have to worry about me, just like you have to worry about you. You keep sitting there and saying, like, I have a kid. Okay, well, you worry about you and your kid, and I'll worry about me and my life. It's not Ariana's responsibility to take on all of the responsibility of this fucking cast. It's just not. What about Tom Sandoval? What about all of you guys who basically essentially were full of shit and were like, team girl, and then one day woke up and decided no? Like, what? And when Ariana was like, she said it, literally Ariana's just so, I don't know if this girl is PR trained or she's just so fucking good and smart, but for her to literally look at Lala and be like, I'm not asking you to understand me. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you to respect me. The same as I respected you when you asked for boundaries and you didn't want us anywhere near Randall. And well, the difference is that I have a kid and blah, blah, blah. And Katie's like, I'm sorry, she can still set a boundary. And Katie and Ariana was like, what about when Katie set boundaries? No one said anything about that. How come when I set boundaries, it's a problem? Like, that's the thing, is the hypocrisy just goes on and on and on. And the thing of it is like, it does make sense why Lala wanted to not be around Randall. It does make sense why she asked everybody for a boundary. It does make sense that she set a hard line of do not spend time with him. That makes sense. But even if it didn't, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter, because that's what she wanted in order for her to feel safe with her boundaries and with her family and her life. Why can we not, like, I just don't understand. And she's like, oh, well, you know, if I was not with Randall and I went out and got a boyfriend, 8 days later or whatever, I would be scrutinized for that. And it's like, yeah, you would have. But guess who wouldn't have scrutinized you? Ariana. She wouldn't have scrutinized you. She would have understood. Or she would have just let it go because it's not that big of a fucking deal. Like, get over yourself. It's so weird to me, the amount of the way that they just want to annihilate this woman in the sake of what? Like, again, I've said this so many times. If you guys are relying so heavily on Ariana and Tom talking for this show to be good, then the show just isn't fucking good. The show's just not good. If the only reason why we can make the show possible and good and have a great outcome from it is if Ariana and Tom talk, then we don't have a good show. And the show must go on and we must end it. Because that tells me that you're a flop, Scheana's a flop, James is a flop, the Toms are flops. Like, so there's nothing else to talk about then. There's nothing else to do. It only has to be about these two. No, it really fucking doesn't. And it actually, the audience didn't want it to be about the two of them. The audience wanted to see Ariana thrive. The audience wanted to see Katie thrive. The audience actually wanted to see Lala thrive and Scheana all together. But instead of doing that, what the audience actually fucking wanted, you went off the rails and tried to create this fantasy storyline that doesn't exist anymore. Like, move the fuck on. Like, what is wrong with you? Nobody did that to you. That's so, like, it's just, Katie and Ariana were respectful when everything happened with Randall and completely stood by her and understood where she was coming from. Yet here we are. Like, I'm, as you guys can tell, I'm just like a little flustered by it. Like, it's not fun to watch because I just don't know if people treated Lala the way that she's treating Ariana, she would be so angry and so pissed off. But it's okay for Lala, like, and Lala has just an excuse for everything. And of course, the excuse is always, I'm a mom, I'm a mom. I'm a mom too. That doesn't mean I'm an asshole. That doesn't mean that I can't feel for other people. That doesn't mean I can't see their perspective or see their point of view. That doesn't mean we can't have a conversation about how something upset me without being a complete psychopath, okay? That doesn't mean we need to do those things. Like, I don't like it when people, there are some things where it's like, yeah, I'm a mom and you don't get it. Because guess what? That's the truth. There are some things as a mom that my friends would talk to me about before they had kids. And I kept nodding my head. I was like, you'll get it when you have a kid, let me tell you. And then they have kids. And one of the first things that they say to me, like within 1 to 2 years is, holy shit, you were right. You're totally right about this. You were totally right about that. This makes so much sense. And I never would have understood that if I was not a mom. I'm like, exactly. You just don't get it. But in this scenario, Ariana did get it. She did get it. She understood it completely and supported you in that completely. Lala just seems to be the type of person that she needs her friends to be ride or die. Like, and I'm talking about cult mentality, ride or die. Like, there is no other option. There is no other place. It's me or nobody. And that's just not realistic. You're not going to agree on everything. You're not going to have the same perspective on things. And I don't like that when Lala is met with an issue with one of her friends, it's just downhill from there. And it's like an attack on everybody. And I just don't, like, I think myself, I think the audience, we're just all really bummed out and disappointed in Lala and Scheana for going after somebody in a very vulnerable state and having every excuse to bring them down. And it's like, girl, you guys had the secret Krabby Patty formula. You just gave it to Plankton at this point. Like, you had everything in the palm of your hand to have the most perfect, amazing season ever, to come out looking like the most incredible people on the planet, and you just chose to be an asshole. That's the thing, is like, that's why I don't get it. Because you were handed on a platter how to come off like the most incredible women in reality TV history. And to change the narrative behind the women are the problem, the women is the problem, even though the man is the one that fucked everything up. And you chose not to do that. You chose to look like a fool. And I don't get it, and I don't understand why. I'm sorry I'm so heated. It just pisses me off. It pisses me off because, like, you guys, you had everything that you needed to look and come off so good this season. Like, they literally Ariana could not have made it any easier for these women to come off like incredible people. And they were just like, nah, we don't want to. We're going to do whatever we want. Scheana's just a pick me. It just is what it is. Like, there's no way else around it. I don't know why she always wants to pick the guys. She never wants to be on the girl side. She's always been like that. I think they put a note in here that, like, yeah, she was talking about in the after show, which I highly recommend people watching. It gives a lot of perspective on a lot of things. But she was talking about in the after show how, like, oh, Ariana, all of a sudden went and did this and what did she say? She was talking about loyalty, and they were talking about how Ariana became friends with Stassi, and like that was a whole thing. And I'm like, why the fuck are we bringing that up? Like, this is so juvenile and stupid. And she was talking about loyalty or whatever, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, at what point were you loyal? Like, okay, so right now we're recapping season 4, okay? I'm recapping season 4. And in season 4, Ariana really needed Scheana to be her friend. Really needed that support. And what did Scheana do? Scheana chose to be friends with Kristen Doty, who was horrible to Ariana. Horrible to Ariana. I understand Ariana, Tom, kiss, blah, 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 whatever. Context is like a massive part of this conversation, and I totally get that. But like, come on now. She was like, listen, I need you to be like my friend and see that this other person is horrible to me and treats me like dog shit to the extent that I don't deserve like the harassment that I'm getting from this person. Where are you as my friend? What does she do? She goes and be friends with Kristen and Katie and wants to be all buddy with them, but also still wants to be buddy with Ariana. But Ariana still stayed your friend and still was there for you, even though you were friends with like her mortal fucking enemy. How is she not loyal? She stuck up for you so many times on this show. She's been there for you so many times. But all of a sudden, Tom Sandoval is like the most loyal friend that's ever existed, and Ariana's just like crap. I don't get it. She's like, oh, you know, I just wish that like she would just say out loud like that I'm a good friend. It's like, why does she have to say that? That's the problem with this group, is they do a lot of this, but they don't put the action behind it. Whereas Ariana is the opposite. Ariana shows you how good of a friend she is. She doesn't go around telling you that I'm such a good friend. I'm such a good friend. I'm such a good friend. Like Tom Sandoval does. He likes to tell everybody he's such a good friend, but he's not a good friend. He's not a good friend. And he wasn't to Scheana, and he continues to not be. And I hope they're never friends again. And now, because of your shenanigans, now you have lost your best friend, Ariana. For what? For a TV show? For this dumb ass worm? Like, what did you gain out of this? What did you gain by being a horrible friend to this person who was a good friend to you? They just, like Scheana and Lala, they just do not get it. And they're never going to get it. They're going to double down till eternity. I genuinely hope after all the reunions come out that Lala changes her tune. Because I watched a video of Heather McDonald, who is supposedly one of Lala's good friends, okay? And I think talks to Scheana too. And is like intermingled with the whole posse of Vanderpump Rules, okay? And she was on a talk show talking about Vanderpump Rules and talking about the reunion, and literally was saying everything the fans have been saying.
I think the return of forgiving Sandoval is why women are not further along than we are.
I agree. All right.
You're like, oh, I think she's had enough, Ariana. I think she's had enough opportunities. Again, jealous. Not for her having boundaries. She did film all season with this jerk.
Everything that we've been talking about, everything that we've been saying this entire season, Heather McDonald said. Could you go tell your friend Lala that? Could you go tell her that, please? Tell her everything that we have been saying? I understand that she's worried about her job, but also, where is your money? Like, I need to fight. Can someone do an accounting auditing breakdown for me? Wait, you've been on this show for how long? And you're sitting here scrounging for money? What are we doing? Did you guys save a dime of anything that you friggin' got? Do you guys have any investments? Did you guys do you have a stock portfolio? Like, why is it all of a sudden like life or death if we don't have this show financially? Like, oh, this show helps support my children. Don't you have businesses, Lala? Don't you have a makeup business, which is literally one of the most profitable businesses that anybody can get into? It costs pennies to make makeup. Pennies. And the markups are so extreme. That is not me talking. That is actual statistical facts. You have a beauty line. You have Lala Baby. You have clothing. You have all this shit. You have a podcast that has sponsorships on it. So why is all of a sudden Vanderpump Rules the only way that you take care of your child and the only source of income for you? Same with Scheana. Why is it the only source of income that exists? I'm so confused by that. It would be one thing if you guys had nothing going on outside of the show. But you at least tell us that you do. You tell us you have all this stuff going on. You tell us you have all these other ways of income. But you're like gonna die if Vanderpump Rules goes off the air. Vanderpump Rules could have gone off the air so many goddamn times. It should have gone off, honestly, after COVID, because that season was boo-boo nasty horrible. So it should have gone off the air then. Okay? So that could have happened at any time. Why now, when Ariana is going through this, why now do all of a sudden the income from this show means way more than any other income that you get? That, like, red flag. For me, that's a red flag. That tells me that there is something going on financially that we need this money so bad. And you're going to blame your financial issues and your financial stake on this woman. It doesn't make any sense. Ariana would not do that to you. If you guys were like, I'm done, I can't be on this show anymore, I have to move on, it is what it is, Ariana would have been like, yeah, sure, great, have a great time, have a good life. Like, what? Like, I work in a major corporation. It is not my job to save my coworkers' jobs. That's not my job. My job is to keep my job and to solidify my piece of the puzzle in this corporation, in this business. Like, huh? Like, if I saw my friend was getting abused, burnt out, stressed out from a job and was feeling used and abused, like I said, I would not be like, you need to stay here and you need to put up with it and you need to deal with it. I'd be like, no, girl, quit. I tell my coworkers every day to quit. I'm like, girl, don't stay here. No one has loyalty to you. No one has blind loyalty to you in this business. Go. Hurry on, girl. Quit your job. Do it. Do it. Like, I encourage quitting your job if you're getting treated like shit, not paid enough. So it's like, what is the problem? What is the issue? Okay? Let's like sidetrack for a minute, and not go on a Lala tangent too much longer, because there's not much else I could do. I will say I cannot wait for them to show the video of what happened, because I truly want her to see just how nasty Lala was to her. Not like, oh yeah, Lala had like a difference of opinion. No, I truly want Ariana to see how absolutely vile Lala was. It was like, the Sandoval part will not be shocking to her, because he's awful. He's horrible. He's a piece of shit. We all know it. Blah, 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 blah. I think what's going to upset her more, honestly, is Lala. I think that's really going to upset her. And honestly, I do wish that Ariana watched the season, because I really wish that she could see that the people that were talking to her face were completely different people talking behind her back. Lala's always like, keep it real, keep it real. Okay, so how come everything you said in the diary rooms, you never said to Ariana's face? Who needs to keep it real? You need to keep it real. You have all the confidence in the world. I think the thing is that I do believe that they are scared of Ariana. And I think they've always been kind of scared of Ariana, because Ariana doesn't put up with shit and doesn't let you just talk out of your ass. And they always had a hard time, not to give like praise to Stassi, but they always had an issue with Stassi with that too. Stassi would call them out for being stupid, call them out for acting ridiculous, call them out for being drunks, alcoholics, abusive, mean, nasty. And that's why they always called her a bitch and they hated her. And then you watch previous seasons, like, yeah, Stassi has her moments where she's awful and messy or whatever. But she also has a lot of moments where she is right. That this group of people is toxic, is horrible, is nasty. These people should not be together. This, like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, that's why they don't like Ariana, is because Ariana, and why they're scared of Ariana, because Ariana will look you dead in the eye and tell you you're a piece of shit. She did it to Jax. Jax tried to come up with her, what was it, season 8, I think it was, when they had Tom Tom. He was like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry, Ariana. Like, I'm just going through a lot. And she was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. You're full of crap. You're talking about my life. You're talking about my body. You're talking about my sex life. Like, go, like, literally kick rocks with open-toed shoes. I love that line from Love Is Blind. That's like my personality now when I get pissed at people. I'm like, literally kick rocks with open-toed shoes. I'm like, please go do it. The whole Joe thing, I'm sorry. I think Joe is awful. I don't know how, I agree with, it's really sad and depressing that Schwartz like kind of led her on, and everybody's saying it, but Schwartz just can't just admit like, oh, I did lead her on. I'm sorry. That was mean of me. He can't admit that. He literally is never going to admit that. He's not wrong. He did everything right. And I agree with Joe. It's like, how come when you and I were hanging out, you wanted to hide me from everybody, but now you have this new girlfriend and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, here's my girlfriend. Look at her. It's like, what's that about? It's kind of just, it is really, it's very frustrating and it's disturbing. And I do feel bad for Joe about that. But what I don't feel bad for Joe about is I don't feel bad that she did know that Rachel and Tom were canoodling behind the scenes. She was aware of all that shit. She literally went and spent time with Ariana and lied to her face multiple times and was a part of this whole BS. And thank you for Ariana, because I said this in the last video. Thank you for Ariana for calling out that literally Schwartz's little apartment was their little love nest where they'd meet up, okay? So Schwartz is a piece of shit too, okay? And so Joe being a part of that is disturbing and weird. And she literally came out of nowhere. She was friends with Kristen, and Kristen's always like, girl, the only success Kristen's ever had with people in relationships and friendships is truly Stassi and Beau. That's it. Everybody else, sayonara, okay? But it's just weird that like Joe is friends with Kristen, and then all of a sudden she kind of like hopped, like she got out of her apartment and she could have stayed at Kristen's, but she stayed at Schwartz's and she barely knew Schwartz, and like all of a sudden that happened. I don't know. It just like, again, it's one of those situations like, why is Katie the problem? Why is Katie the bad guy? And I don't believe for 1 second that Katie hates every single girl that Schwartz has gone out with. Katie hated Rachel because, duh, we know why. Katie hated Joe because, duh, we know why. Like, let's stop acting like every person that breathes oxygen near her and Schwartz, she fucking hates. She doesn't. The problem is the people that she hates, you guys are canoodling with, you guys are messing around with. And you don't like that she's calling you out. Again, Katie is one of these other people, just like Ariana. They do not like it when someone stares them dead in the eye and calls out their lies and their BS. They don't like it. And then that makes Katie's a bitch. Ariana sucks. She's a flop. She's lazy. She's this. She's that. Blah, 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 blah. No, you're taking a whole section of the conversation out. You're taking a whole section of purpose behind these reasonings as to why they're being said bitches. It's because you make them feel that way. You put this bullshit on them and you torture them. Katie literally was treated like garbage by Schwartz. I loved listening to Brock and Scheana tell him that he was a shitty husband, because he was a shitty husband. I wasn't a bad husband. You were the worst husband. If anybody's lazy in this group, it is Thomas Schwartz, okay? He is lazy. I'm happy that his brother is okay. I love that for him. I think that's awesome. I hope that they do maintain not drinking around him, and I hope they do maintain that, because having a liver transplant for alcoholism and beyond other things is a big fucking deal. It's not a little thing. So I hope that they continue. And Sandoval's like, I won't drink around him either. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I'm happy that everybody, like I am really happy that James is sober, because I think he really, really loves Allie. And I think Allie's such a good person. I really love Allie. I love how he supports Allie. I just feel like he's a better person with her, because she really is no nonsense. When she was like, when they were like, oh, you know, what would you do if you picked up a drinking game? She's like, oh, I'd leave. Like, I love that, because I feel like Rachel was kind of wishy-washy and made excuses. Allie's like, no, like, I'll just straight up leave him. I don't care. I will take my cat, Mr. What's-His-Face, who I think is so cute, and I will literally leave. And when Andy was like, oh, did you leave and go to Schwartz? Everybody was like, are you fucking kidding me? We thought we were all going to lose our minds. He's like, just joking. I'm like, Andy, you're nasty. You're evil. You're disgusting and gross. When Joe said she wanted to date Aaron Rodgers, I was like, well, that says it all right there, because if you know anything about me, you know that Aaron Rodgers is my arch nemesis. Ted Cruz is my arch nemesis. Greg Abbott is my arch nemesis. Marjorie Taylor Greene is my arch nemesis. But if you know anything about me, you know that Aaron Rodgers is my one of probably my top 10 least favorite like celebrity people on the planet. And when she said, oh, I'll just, you know, maybe I'll get a date with Aaron Rodgers, literally everybody was like, no, no. He's a conspiracy theorist wacko, and he's evil, completely evil and disgusting and gross. So, no. And I love that when everybody called, and then she's like, oh, maybe like John Mayer. And she was like, been there, done that. And I'm like, in front of your husband, stop with the John Mayer thing. It's gross and it's weird and it's nasty. Okay. Ugh, I can't stand that freaking narrative anymore. If I did that in front of my husband would be like, what is wrong with you? Why are you bringing this up all the time? We're married now. We've been married for a while. We have kids together. Like, what are you doing? I'd be like, oh, sorry. The last thing that I will say is, like, they talked to Ariana about, like, her crying and things like that or whatever, and, like, oh, you don't show your emotions, all that stuff. I think that she doesn't cry on camera or gets too emotional on camera or gives too much on camera, specifically this season. What is going on with sorry, hold on. I'm all tangled up over here. I don't know what's going on. I'll fix it in a minute. I think the reason why she doesn't cry on camera or like sob and have like these mental breakdowns this specific season on camera is because she knows that that will make Tom happy. She knows that Tom will be so happy that he like got her to cry. Like, look, she still loves me. She still misses me. She sees like how good we were together, blah, blah, blah. He wants her to feel something towards him. And she doesn't want to give him that satisfaction. She doesn't want to give him anything. She doesn't want to give him laughter. She doesn't want to give him anger. She doesn't really want to give him anything. She has obviously given him some anger and things like that, obviously, because he, you know, she called him a dog killer. So there's that. But yeah, I think the reason why Ariana didn't cry a lot on this season, or we didn't see her break down, and we all know she definitely did. Like, how could you not break down in these moments? But I think the reason why she didn't do it necessarily like on camera is because she knows that Tom's gonna watch the season, and she knows that he's sitting there watching, being like, oh yeah, she cried for me, she misses me, like, oh my God, you know? He's a narcissist. Which, Lala, I don't know if you remember that you called him that, and you said he was dangerous. But for whatever reason, Ariana is the weird, crazy one this season. I just can't wait. I'm so happy that they waited to show the cast this last portion of the season of the finale episode, because I just am so happy that literally Lala is about to get gooped and gagged, okay? She's about to finally get her call to the podium of like, would you like to tell us what's over here in Exhibit A of you being a ding-a-ling? Would you like to show us? Would you like to tell us over here? Like, I'm so happy we're finally going to see that, because that's what needs to happen. We need to call her out, and that she needs, like, this whole, like, narrative of, like, we're such good friends, and we had her back, and, you know, a couple times we were upset and frustrated. No, you guys were assholes all season behind this girl's back when she went through something so horrible on TV that she literally had to put it on TV, because if she didn't put it on TV, he was going to spin it and make it disgusting and ugly. She had to. That's like the thing is like, well, you put it on TV. She had to. If she didn't put it on TV, he was going to find every way possible to spin it to make her look like a piece of shit. She had to do it. I'm sorry. I know that sucks for people to hear, but sometimes you got to play the game in order to get what you want. And Ariana did. Ariana was like, okay, bitch, you wanna fuck around with my life? You want to do crazy things? Like, why is no one talking about how, what is going on with this? This is going to break. I know it. Why is nobody talking about, like, Lala sitting there all pissed off and mad? Why is no one talking about how Tom could have fucked up Ariana's life and could have fucked up Ariana's money by lying to everybody and trying to ice her out and try to somehow convince everybody that Rachel's this great girl and I'm with Rachel now and I'm so in love and blah, blah, blah. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about anything that involves the positives of Ariana. No, everybody in this group only wants to talk about how Ariana is just the worst. She's the worst. Like, oh my gosh, you did this, you did that. Why is everything, even Lisa, okay, even Lisa is just sitting there always siding with everything everybody else says except for Ariana and Katie. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. All right, this is a short video. The reunion was pretty, like, I didn't really love it. Obviously I was passionate about some things, but I don't know, it was just kind of simple. Hopefully the next reunion episode is a lot more crazy and fun and dramatic. And again, I honestly hope that Lala and Scheana get theirs in the sense of accountability, because they need to be held accountable for the crap that comes out of their mouth. If you're so big and bad, then you should be able to stand behind the garbage that you have said and admit that the way you were in front of her was not the way you were behind her back. Just saying, okay? Check out all of my stuff, okay? Check out in the description. You can check out my podcast. It's an advice podcast and how you can submit advice. You can check out all my links, my TikTok, Instagram, all the, like, Twitter, Facebook, all the fun stuff, okay? You can check out all my other videos, which I put a Vanderpump Rules playlist always at the end of the video. So you guys can go click on that and watch all the previous videos that I've made from season 2 to currently I'm working on season 4. So you guys can see all of that information up there. What else can you guys do? Go to the links in the description and go support Palestine or repost as much content as you can to get that information out there for people that are donating, the students that are involved with protests, all that stuff. And yeah, like I always say, please support your local LGBTQIA businesses And I love you guys and have a great day. Bye.